Hello and welcome back to the PolyInnovator channel. I have not made a video on here in a while, so I wanted to make an update, if you will, to what's going on with the channel and why I haven't been posting and what I plan on doing in the future. So, first and foremost, sorry that I've not been here. I have 3 YouTube channels. The gaming one is technically my third one, so I had to kind of just like chop off a leg real quick and focus on the first two. And I'm sorry about that. I really wanted to get into it, and I think part of it is too, like, it's almost like an excuse not to do streaming. I tried doing it one day. I tried doing a stream with the Pokemon game, and it just failed to work. I think I streamed to Twitch, but I couldn't get the multi-streaming to work. And then I failed to do another stream, but it was because I was doing like on my main channel, not on this channel. So I was trying to practice, and I'll get around to practicing more. But it's just one of those things where it's frustrating, especially when you have multiple channels, like linking those channels. That's an excuse, and I'm sorry. But going forward, I was planning on doing Pokemon stuff, and I'm thinking like at the very least, I should do some pre-recorded stuff and not stream them as long as I'm making some sort of content. And so I'm still planning on doing that. And I'm also thinking like maybe I just need to get more experience live streaming, so I'll do it more on the other two channels, get some practice, and then focus on the multi-streaming. So I was thinking if I want to do it, I want to do it right. I want to do multi-streaming across platforms. And the other thing was I was trying to wait to play some of my games that I wanted to play until I did this. And so like I felt bad about playing other games until I was like, might as well play Pokemon because that's what I want to play and it's what I need to play for the stuff. And so I'm like, well, no, I've been really wanting to play Pokemon, but I can't play it until I play it on the series. And so like on the little Retroid Pocket, I started playing Diamond again. Or no, Platinum, it was Platinum. But the point was like I just let myself do it and it felt so nice. And there's also these really cool mods coming out, romhacks, these games where like there's HDSS Sevia Islands. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And I wish I could combine that with some editor ones like the Drayano ROM hack. And you probably can, honestly, but just like all these really cool stuff. And I don't want to do the ROM hacks right away. I want to do the main games first. I even want to do the regular HDSS first. That way I can like have more content to pull from. There's so many cool ROM hacks. And so it's just one of those things where I'm like, I need to get around to doing it. I had started like playing Pokemon Blue or something like that for that series. And actually, as of late, I've been playing Octopath Traveler too. And so something that I don't know if I've mentioned on this channel before, I probably have at one point when I made one of these videos, but I had a few games throughout my life where I got 99% done. And I was not happy about that. So 3 games that come to mind: Arctolad, Twilight of the Spirits, Legend of Dragoon, and then Octopath Traveler 1, where the final bosses were so grindy that, especially as a teenager, I was just like, no, I'm not doing this. And it left a feeling of incompleteness in me, especially the Arctolad and Legend of Dragoon ones, where I was like, I loved these games growing up. Very deep stories and very intricate, like, weavings, webs between 2 different characters and even just multiple classes and stuff like that. And I really wanted to get around to playing these games and finishing them. And so, actually, on the Retroid Pocket too, it can play PS2 games pretty well. It just heats up a little bit. And I actually replayed that game from my childhood and beat it. And it took me a little bit while to finish that damn game because I tell you what, that final boss, even after grinding and doing a much better playthrough, like a much more optimized playthrough, I still had a really hard time beating that boss. And I don't think I cheesed it, but I think I had to like, use one of those strategies I found online just to do it. And now that I think about that out loud, that might be helpful for Octopaths because I still haven't done it for Legend of Dragoon, but I've always wanted to replay that anyways. And so I'll get around to doing that. I'm debating whether or not I want to stream it because I do want more attention on that game. It's a cult classic. Not enough people like it or know about it. And so I really want to get more attention on that, to be honest. But then on top of that, I wouldn't mind playing it on the Retroid Pocket too and just having fun with it and letting that be a game I just play on the handheld and just for decompression kind of thing. But the Octopath game, I tell you what, first off, I was not, no one, I wasn't new to RPGs. So when I first played Octopath 1, I played it pretty decently well. Like, I didn't optimize my playthrough because I didn't know what I was doing in Octopath. Because every character is different, their builds are different. I wasted a lot of the nuts that, like, boost your stats. And so it was one of those things where, like, I knew that that particular file wasn't going to be optimized enough to play it. Cool, fine, not a big deal. And then I did a couple more playthroughs where I did a solo run, and then I did a speed run. the speed run was so cool. You basically just try to do 4 chapters as fast as possible, and I was like, that was really fun. And the solo run was actually really cool, and I chose Ulbrich. Ulbrich is the warrior, which turns out of the 8 characters, for those who don't know, he's the warrior, and he's actually the worst person to try to solo run on. I had no idea until I looked it up later. And so I'm trying to fight the final boss with him, and it ended up being like ridiculously hard. And like I was 15 levels over, and I actually found ways to boost his health a lot more. It turns out the apothecary gives you like 500 health. So I was finding all these ways to get more attacks. So using like the dancer and the hunter abilities, I was able to get extra attacks in. It was really cool. Still couldn't beat it, that particular final boss in the solo run, but that's okay. And I actually just realized I could do hired help. My point was, I had replayed it on the Switch because as of late, I bought the Switch again late last year because I wanted to do the Octopath games again. I had played Octopath 2 last year and I beat the game completely. I did both bosses, spoilers, and I did everything like first try even or something like that. Whereas the first Octopath Traveler game, I literally over and over and over again kept fighting the boss and grinding, fighting the boss and grinding. And for those who don't know, the final boss, you have to do like a boss rush of all of your previous bosses, and then the final boss, which has 2 forms that are overly powerful and overly have way too much health. Both forms do. And there's some certain strategies that I tried to employ, but I guess I wasn't good enough at watching those videos and taking in those strategies. I might have to go back and do it again. But I tried over and over and over again and couldn't do it. And then when I played it again on the Switch, like late last year, I grinded really well. I was pretty high level across the board, and at least very close to like 70 and 80s and stuff like that. And so like I was pretty equal across all 8 travelers, which was not something I was before. Before I had a like low level apothecary, and it was one of those things where like I was much more ready and much more optimized and really like strategized for this. And I even made my Ulbrich tank. I took the lessons I did from that solo run and added it to my main run. And Ulbrich was like overly powerful. He had like 8,000 health. It was insane. And yet, despite that, and despite all the other characters being pretty well optimized too, like I gave them the right nuts, I gave them the right classes, I gave them the right sub skills, they still were not win. I wasn't winning. And I got really close one of the days. I got to the second form of the final boss, and he was like halfway hurt when I got like a team wipe. And it was one of those things where I tried like 3, 4, 5 times on the second playthrough, like full playthrough. And so I gave up and I just moved on to Octopath 2 again. I wanted to play it really bad. And I also wanted my friend to play it pretty bad too. And so it's one of those things where I want to go back and do those. So that's a long-winded story, but man, it just felt so dissatisfied to have that looming over me that I didn't beat those games. So going forward, I'm hoping to do something with this channel, either with the Pokemon games or those RPG playthroughs. And just throwing this out there, I think that GPD, the brand for gaming handhelds and laptops, they came out with a dual screen laptop. And this is just me talking to you as a nerd for technology. The dual screen laptop is a really cool idea because first off, the top screen can be used as an external monitor. And so this would be like a perfect streaming PC. So you have your bottom screen with like OBS and your Windows operating system, then the top screen will be connected to a capture card that's connected to like a Switch or a console, or even just the PC itself, I guess. And it'd be really interesting because you could like have your game here playing on the top screen, but you're also sending it to the computer bottom screen and just streaming it like that. I thought that was really cool. But obviously I'm not doing that. And I actually think maybe I'll do some more reviews. So like I could do like a review of the Retroid Pocket and stuff like that on this channel, at least getting some sort of content out on this channel. Thank you and cheers.